Well, the inevitable has happened. After losing her 11th publicist in just 5 years, Meghan Markle has gone crawling back to the crisis. PR firm she dumped back in 2022, and this isn't just any PR firm, this is Sunshine Sachs Morgan and Lillis, the Hollywood heavyweight that specializes in damage control for celebrities in absolute meltdown. The same firm that reps Leonardo DiCaprio, Ben Affleck, and handled the fallout from Justin Timberlake's infamous wardrobe malfunction with Janet Jackson. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the state of Meghan and Harry's brand right now, I don't know what will. Let's be absolutely clear about what this means. When you hire a crisis communications firm, you're not doing it because things are going well. You're doing it because your reputation is in free fall, and you need professionals to stop the bleeding. And make no mistake, the Sussexes are hemorrhaging credibility, staff, and public goodwill at an alarming rate. The news broke just days ago that Meghan and Harry are once again working with Sunshine Sachs, Morgan, and Lillis, the bicoastal PR powerhouse they originally fired in September 2022. The firm will be supporting Meghan's lifestyle brand as ever, as well as the couple's US-based efforts, and the timing, absolutely perfect. This comes just weeks after their chief communications officer, Meredith Maines, announced she was stepping down from her role after a mere 9 months on the job. 9 months? Think about that. Most people take longer to train for a new position than Maines spent actually doing the job before she decided she'd had enough. And she wasn't just any publicist, she was their 11th PR professional to quit in 5 years. 11, that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. That's a massive red flag visible from space. But it gets better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. Maines' departure came right after the Kardashian birthday party debacle. You know the one. Harry and Meghan showed up at Kris Jenner's 70th birthday bash at Jeff Bezos' $175 million Beverly Hills mansion, rubbing shoulders with Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Bill Gates, Paris Hilton, and Mark Zuckerberg. They were photographed with Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner. Everyone smiled for the cameras. And then, mysteriously, those photos disappeared from Instagram. Kim and Kris both deleted every single image featuring the Sussexes. According to sources, Meghan and Harry's team had actually asked them to remove the photos. Can you imagine? You attend one of the most exclusive parties in Hollywood. You get photographed with A-list celebrities, and then you panic and ask them to scrub the evidence from social media. The optics are absolutely terrible. If you want the real story behind the royal headlines, subscribe to Royal Daily Report. We give you the unvarnished truth without the palace spin. That Kardashian party incident was reportedly the final straw for Maines. Insiders told Page 6 it was what pushed her over the edge. She'd been brought in to rehabilitate their image, and instead she was managing bizarre requests to delete Instagram photos and dealing with the fallout from their increasingly erratic public appearances. And here's where it gets really juicy. Maines wasn't the only one to jump ship in December. James Holt, their longtime advisor and executive director of RQL, also announced he was stepping down. Now Holt is significant because he was one of the last people standing who'd been with them since the royal days. He was there at Windsor Castle on their wedding day in May 2018. He guided them through the Oprah interview. He followed them to California and helped launch RQL. He was, by all accounts, a true believer in the Sussex cause. And even he decided it was time to pack up his young family and head back to Britain. The official line is that he wants to be closer to family and that he'll remain a senior philanthropic advisor. But come on. When someone who's been that loyal, that deeply embedded in your operation for nearly a decade, suddenly decides to put 5,000 miles between himself and you, that tells you everything you need to know about what's really happening behind closed doors. So with Maines gone, Holt gone, and their in-house communications operation in absolute shambles, Meghan did what she always does when things fall apart. She went back to the professionals. She went back to Sunshine Sachs, the firm she originally hired when she was still acting on Suits, the firm that repped her during the early days of her relationship with Harry, the firm she fired in 2022 when she decided to take her PR in-house to save money. And why did she fire them back then? Because she thought she could do it better herself. Because she believed she didn't need high-powered Hollywood PR when she and Harry could manage their own narrative. Because it was cheaper to hire in-house staff than pay the fees that a firm like Sunshine Sachs commands. How did that work out? Spectacularly badly. as we can all see. Since firing Sunshine Sachs, the Sussexes have lost their Spotify deal, faced relentless criticism over their Netflix content, watched their popularity plummet in both the UK and US, churned through 11 publicists, and seen their brand become synonymous with hypocrisy, victim mentality, and grifting. Royal expert and PR professional Mark Borkowski said it perfectly. He warned that Meghan and Harry are now in survival mode. Their reputation, he said, doesn't unravel slowly. It buckles at speed. One viral misfire, one poorly timed quote, one tone-deaf lifestyle pivot. And suddenly, the narrative outruns the strategy. And in celebrity-led brands fueled by moral narrative, the biggest danger isn't hostility, it's inconsistency. And boy, have the Sussexes been inconsistent? They preach about climate change whilst taking private jets. They demand privacy whilst doing Netflix documentaries. They claim to want reconciliation with the royal family whilst briefing against them constantly. They position themselves as humanitarians whilst treating their staff so badly that 18 people have walked away in just a few years. Make sure you're subscribed to Royal Daily Report for all the latest Sussex drama. Hit that subscribe button now. Now, let's talk about Sunshine Sachs Morgan and Lillis, because this firm's history with Meghan is absolutely fascinating. The firm represented Meghan during her Suits years, and she developed a close friendship with one of their publicists, Kella Thomas Morgan. And we're not talking about a casual professional relationship. Kella was invited to Meghan and Harry's wedding in 2018. She had a prime seat. She's now a co-president and partner at the firm, and her name is literally part of the company's title. Sunshine Sachs, Morgan and Lillis, that's how important she is. Kella was reportedly instrumental in helping Meghan build her profile before she met Harry, and then in managing the early stages of their relationship when media interests went absolutely ballistic. When Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in 2020, they brought Sunshine Sachs back on board to help rehabilitate their public standing. The firm's founder, Ken Sunshine, reportedly served as their principal advisor during this period. For context, Ken Sunshine is an absolute legend in Hollywood and political PR. His client roster over the years has included Leonardo DiCaprio, Natalie Portman, Barbra Streisand, Jennifer Lopez, and Michael Jackson's family. The firm handled Justin Timberlake's Super Bowl wardrobe malfunction, crisis, and Ben Affleck's split from Jennifer Garner. These are the people you call when you need serious damage control. When your career is on the line and you need someone who knows how to work the media, how to place strategic stories, how to rebuild a shattered reputation, and crucially, Sunshine Sachs has deep ties with top Democrats, including the Obamas and the Clintons. That political network was hugely valuable to Harry and Meghan, especially as they tried to position themselves as global humanitarian figures. But in 2022, they decided they didn't need it anymore. They fired the firm and brought communications in-house. According to reports at the time, it was about money. Hiring in-house staff is cheaper than paying the fees a firm like Sunshine Sachs charges. They appointed Christine Schwirmer, whose background was in Silicon Valley rather than Hollywood or politics, to run their communications. And predictably, it all went sideways. Without the leverage and networking ability of a firm like Sunshine Sachs, Meghan lost her clout in Hollywood, the firm's ability to package its clients together, to use its relationships with media outlets and celebrities to benefit everyone on their roster. That all disappeared. Meghan isolated herself, and the consequences have been brutal. Even Oprah, who famously gave them that blockbuster interview in 2021, isn't sticking up for them anymore. The Hollywood elite, who they thought would embrace them, have kept their distance. Their Netflix deal is on shaky ground. Their Spotify deal collapsed in humiliating fashion. And their public image has gone from sympathetic victims of royal cruelty to entitled celebrities who won't stop complaining. So now, with their brand in absolute crisis, they've gone back to Sunshine Sachs. But here's the question everyone's asking. Will it work? Can even a firm as powerful and connected as Sunshine Sachs save the Sussex brand at this point? PR experts are skeptical. The problem isn't just bad publicity or a few missteps. The problem is fundamental. Harry and Meghan have built their entire brand on a narrative that's increasingly difficult to maintain. They're victims of the royal family, but they won't stop talking about the royal family. They want privacy, but they won't stop selling their private lives. They're humanitarians. But they can't keep staff, and their charitable foundation is criticized for spending more on salaries than actual charity work. And then there's the staff turnover issue. Former employees have spoken anonymously to various outlets, and the picture they paint is damning. One said that working for Meghan meant being praised until the moment something went wrong, then being quietly pushed out. Another described receiving emails at all hours with expectations of instant responses. Multiple sources have used words like dictator, belittling, and terrified to describe the work environment. These aren't isolated complaints from one disgruntled employee. This is a consistent pattern across years and dozens of staff members. And no amount of clever PR can make that go away. When you've lost 11 publicists in 5 years, people start to wonder what the common denominator is. And the answer is obvious. It's not the publicists, it's the people they're working for. Sunshine Sachs is now tasked with promoting Meghan's lifestyle brand, as ever. The one that had a website glitch showing what appeared to be company stock information. Instead of the glossy lifestyle content it was supposed to feature, the one that's supposedly competing with Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, but has generated a fraction of the interest, or credibility. The firm is also working with the couple on efforts specifically in the US, which makes sense, because the UK market is completely lost to them. Recent polls show their approval ratings in Britain are absolutely abysmal. The British public has turned decisively against them, and no amount of PR wizardry is going to change that. The bridges are burned. The goodwill is gone. But the US market isn't much better. Their popularity has fallen dramatically from the highs of the Oprah interview. Americans are tired of the complaining. They're tired of the hypocrisy. They're tired of watching two extremely wealthy people position themselves as victims, whilst lecturing everyone else about their privilege. A source told The Telegraph that Sunshine Sachs has been working on projects, on and off with the Duke and Duchess since 2017, and that the firm is currently working alongside their internal team on as ever, and with the couple on efforts specifically in the US. The key phrase there is, alongside their internal team, because they haven't completely disbanded their in-house operation. They're just bringing in the professionals to handle what their own people clearly couldn't manage. The real test will be whether Sunshine Sachs can actually turn this around. They've got their work cut out for them. They need to rehabilitate Meghan's image as a boss after all the staff exodus stories. They need to make, as ever, seem relevant and aspirational rather than desperate and derivative. They need to position Harry and Meghan as credible humanitarians rather than celebrity grifters. And they need to do all of this whilst their clients continue to make questionable decisions and issue bizarre demands. Because here's the thing. No PR firm, no matter how good they are, can save clients who consistently sabotage themselves. If Meghan and Harry continue to demand that photos be deleted from Instagram, if they continue to lose staff at an alarming rate, if they continue to say one thing and do another, then even Sunshine Sachs, with all their expertise and connections, won't be able to fix this. The fact that they're back working with Sunshine Sachs tells you everything about how desperate things have become. This is a couple who thought they could conquer Hollywood on their own terms, who believed their royal titles and their story would be enough to make them A-list players. They were wrong. Spectacularly, humiliatingly wrong. And now they're back to relying on the same firm they fired 4 years ago, hoping that professional PR people can clean up the mess they've made. It's a stunning admission of failure, an acknowledgement that their attempt to control their own narrative, to build their own brand without the support structures they used to have, has completely collapsed. So what happens next? Well, expect to see more carefully placed stories about Meghan's humanitarian work. Expect strategic photo opportunities showing Harry looking happy and fulfilled. Expect friendly profiles and outlets that Sunshine Sachs has relationships with. Expect the beginning of a rehabilitation campaign designed to make us forget about the staff exodus, the failed business ventures, and the endless contradictions. Whether any of it works remains to be seen. The Sussexes are in survival mode, and they know it. The question is whether it's too late. Whether the damage to their brand is so extensive that even the best crisis PR firm in Hollywood can't save them. My money's on it being too late. But we'll see. Either way, it's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch.